Good morning, children. Video 3 of what I think is going to be 3 today. Hivemind. So, Hivemind, I think, is a very doable fight for us. We learnt a lot last night. Just as a recap, we had 15 pulls. We never got further than 2 minutes 52. That was our best in terms of length. In terms of percentage, we're fairly consistent. To be honest, somewhere around 72, 73. Excuse me, bit of a yawn. Oh dear, very tired, lots of talking. Now, there is the same problem every pull, the same issues are happening, and we need to look at how we're going to improve them. So, issues are fairly simple to start with. It's all about damage taken. Okay? I'm not interested in what this page looks like, which is which individual took the most damage. So, like, you see that I took a massive amount of damage, but I'm a tank. I'm also staggering it. Okay? Not an issue. Jakob's going to take a lot of damage. He's tanking. It's going to happen, right? Everybody else, damage looks fairly kind of consistent between 37k for Tragwin down to 20k for Tam. Okay, not the biggest difference in the world. What's much more interesting is ability. Damage taken from ability. Okay, so let's look at what's happening here. So Devouring Frenzy, what's that? Inflicts 3 nature damage to all players. Oh, there's quite a lot of it. We don't really want to have lots of damage. So what actually is Devouring Frenzy? Well, I'll tell you what, let's go and find out. Okay, I'm going to click on it. Another new fun thing that you can find. Click on it, it takes me to Wowhead. Devouring Frenzy. Does it give me any information? Not really. Triggered by Devouring Frenzy. Oh, here we go. Let's have a look. The hive goes into a frenzy, inflicting 22,086 nature damage to all players every half second for 12 seconds. Each time Devouring Frenzy is triggered, the damage deals is increased by 20%. Okay. So when does Devouring Frenzy actually happen? Okay, let's bring it up here. It does it here at the beginning, and then it does it here. Ooh, now what happened at these points? Let's leave this up. Let's look at casts. I'm looking for enemies. Let's look at Khazir first. Khazir's Hivemind Control. Aha! Look at that. Let's grab, instead of Khazir, Tekris, and look at his Hivemind Control. Haha! So, Hivemind Control is going to trigger Devouring Frenzy. There is nothing we can do about that. What is important to recognise, though, is that while we can't control what happens with it, we can control how many there are. This is effectively like an enrage mechanic, a soft enrage mechanic, because remember, it increases in damage. Let's go back to it. Okay, Devouring Frenzy inflicts 3 nature damage to all players. Okay, Hive goes into a frenzy, inflicting nature damage, so ignore the 3, that's just a placeholder. So inflicts 22,000 nature damage to all players every half second for 12 seconds. Each time Devouring Frenzy is triggered, the damage it deals is increased by 20%. So if the first time it's hitting us for 22k each, okay, the second time it happens, we're getting an extra 20%. So it's an extra 4,000 damage per person. Then the next time it happens, so we go up to 26k. So the next time it happens, we've got another 20%. So where are we? So it's going to be 4. It's going to be 6k on top of that. Something like that. So we're getting up to 32. So very quickly, we're going to be on 45k, nearly 60k. It's just going to keep going up and up and up and up. So that's going to become unhealable very quickly. So we know that that's going to happen when we have Hivemind cast. And we've already got, if I go back to WoW, ERT, let's grab the note. Here's my note for it. I'll make it nice and big so it's easy for everyone to see. And you see Tekris is doing his control. We've got nothing assigned right now. Okay, nothing assigned because we can just kind of power heal through that one. Then Kazir takes control, and we have Alan's revival, and we have Jack's rally. Both of these things are happening to deal with the fact that we're going to take a butt ton of damage. Okay, we can't control it, we can't stop it. Then we have, when Tekris takes control again, Mooney's Healing Tide Totem and Personals. When Kazir takes control, Ivan's going to him. Sorry, that's a lowercase I, that's going to drive me nuts. When Tex takes control again, Ivan's Salvation, Jack's Rally. Okay, Kazir, Josh's Healing Tide Totem, Personals. And you can see we've said, if it's not dead by now, we're all screwed. Maybe Revival Alan, if you've not used it. If you have, then oh shit. Then. There we go. So you can see why at this point we're going to be taking butt tons of damage. The world is going to end. So we need to kill the fight before we get to Drone Wave 6. Because on this one of Kazir, we're going to be burning through mana. Okay. Even with Personals, Healing Tide Totem, anything else we throw at it, we're going to be burning through mana. Okay. So we are accounting for this. There's nothing that we can do to stop it other than kill the boss. Boom. Brilliant. So let's go back and look at damage taken again. We know what this... Sorry, excuse me. This has decided that it's going to go slow, which is really helpful. We know that we can't do anything about Devouring Frenzy. Okay, next highest ability, Psionic Resonance. Okay, inflicts 49,000 shadow damage to all players and shifts to new locations. So that is the darters, if I'm not mistaken. So let's have a look at that on a replay. Let's get rid of that, not interested in that. So let's have a look at this on the replay. So we'll run it through at double speed. And what we're looking for is when the darters spawn. Okay, so we get, pause there, drones. Okay, drones are coming out. 20 seconds. Let's go back to this. 20 seconds, drone wave 1. Now, what else have we got? So we've got a volatile drone, volatile drone, volatile drone, all over here. These are all the little ones. Okay, let's keep playing it through. Let's keep playing it through. We've got the Ravager, which is this one here marked by a star. It still says volatile drone, but it is in fact a Ravager. So that's been made big. So we don't have to deal with any darters at this particular point in time. Okay, still got a few little ads up. Let's keep it playing through. Okay, Ravager's still there. The peas are coming in. You see where they spawn like this. Haha! Darters. The darters have come. Let's go back a little bit so that we can see where they spawn. We'll run it at normal speed. So at 42 seconds. 3, 44, 45. Okay. I think it's about 50 they're going to pop. Nope, still not there. Haha. Looking for our first darter still. Still nothing. Peas come. Darter. There we go. Yeah, 54 seconds. So first darter comes in. So remember that this darter is going to be marked. So let's go back to this note. First darter is going to be marked with a moon. So at this point, everyone here that's not a tank needs to go and start beating the crap out of this. Because this darter is casting Psionic Resonance. Let's take it back a little bit. Play it at half speed. So the darter appears 50 seconds. Then it starts casting Psionic Resonance within 2 seconds of appearing. Okay, now let's look at that cast time. 2.5 seconds. By the end of that cast, you see these other darters have appeared. So the amount of damage that's going to be coming from these things is colossal. So this first data, the cast goes through. Okay. Gets to the end, cast goes through. We're all going to be taking damage from psionic resonance. Okay. Now, remember that data appears at about 50 seconds. Okay. Nobody's done any damage to it until we get nearly halfway through the cast, and then Tam starts hitting it. It finishes cast, and then Lil Baguette starts hitting it, and then Chris 4. Then people start switching to it. Okay? It's too late. Those things spawn, we start killing them. Real quick. Real quick. You can see here that Jakob and I are doing damage before most of the DPS players are. It's too late, guys. We've got to get damage onto those things super quick. They've just got to die. These other two, Data 1 and Data 2, they're going to be initially dealt with by Ryan and Star, who are going to be stunning them. Okay. But stunning at the end of the cast. Okay. So let's go back to the analysis, which it will do eventually. Damage taken. Taken from ability. Psionic resonance. 11.9 million damage, which in theory is completely avoidable. So in 1 minute and 35 seconds, we took basically 12 million damage that, if we're clever, we can negate almost entirely. I mean, that's going to be really hard. I'm not going to say this is an easy thing to do. It is going to be tough, but we can negate this massive chunk of damage pretty quickly, all right? Pretty simply, just by thinking about when we're going to go out, use stuns. So it might be that a good idea is for us to start looking actually at a stun rotation. So we know that there's a diminishing returns on stuns, so there's only a limited number that we can use. So maybe the next move is for me to assign specific stuns to specific ads. Okay. Melee, nothing we can do about that. That's for tanks to deal with. Echoing Void. Okay, so we got 5 million damage from Echoing Void. So what is it? So Tekris unleashes a wave of void energy, inflicting 171,784 shadow damage to all players, and causes them to pulse an additional 161,968 shadow damage to all allies within 4 yards. Well, we looked at this, and we said slash range 4. So this is where we're doing our first little bit of a dance. Okay, that's our first little bit of a dance. So when's Echoing Void happening? Okay, so about just for 30 seconds, 28 seconds. So let's go back to the replay. I'm going to get rid of NPCs, I'm going to get rid of bosses. I just want to look at players. So let's run it from 26 seconds. So we're fairly clumped up in this melee spot. I'm going to talk about ranged in a bit, but we're fairly clumped up in this melee spot. Echoing Void is about to happen. People start to spread out. Okay. And then people need to move again. And there we go. So not too bad. Let's bring back the bosses. And let's look at damage taken. And let's run it again. Okay, same sort of place. Can I run damage taken from ability? Damage taken by ability. Okay, so let's look at what's happening in this set of bars. Okay, everyone spreads out. There we go. Echoing Void's first set of damage happens. Okay, so you can see it doesn't actually look to be necessarily that bad. It just kind of kicks in, we get this big old kind of smash of damage that's happening. Okay, but it's something that we can work on to slowly but surely reduce. Okay, So make sure we're spreading properly for Echoing Void and then moving a second time to make sure that we're not getting caught by extras. Okay. What else have we got here? Acid Pool. What actually is Acid Pool? I don't know. Let's find out. Let's go and click. I mean, I know what it is, but just to give you an idea. So here we are. Acid Pool inflicts nature damage every 1.5 seconds to players standing inside the area. Okay, here it is. Oh, it's doing the same thing every time. Does it tell us any more interesting information? Not really. What is important is, quite simply, standing in the area. Okay. So, acid spray. Acid pool. Let's bring that up. Where does acid pool start happening? Right around 20 seconds. Okay. So let's have another look at the replay. We'll bring in NPCs. We'll get rid of players. We'll play it at normal speed just before then. So we've got drones out. Here are some drones. Okay. Here are some drones. We're playing it through. A bunch more drones. We get to 20 seconds. We've got the Ravager begins. Okay, you've got ads are starting to die. Ads are starting to die. We've got some dead ads already. So around 28 seconds, we start seeing our first kind of dead ads. So let's go back to our analyze. Damage taken. Taken from ability. Acid pool, which we're going to put up there. Doesn't start until we start seeing ads dying. That's standing inside the pools that are left when the ads die. That's what it is. And you see it kind of continues. So this is a slightly awkward one, I would say. Let's go back to replay. So this is awkward because, let's get rid of players. Leave bosses and NPCs. We'll bring it up to 20 or so seconds. So it's awkward because we need to have the two bosses in this position to start with. And one of these is going to get turned into a Ravager. Let's keep playing until we see the Ravager. There it is. The Ravager is going to be taunted over and tanked in this position here. Swapped between me and Jakub. Now, if I get rid of the NPCs for a moment, let's look at how the how the raid is kind of stacked. So we've got a good kind of clump of players here, and then we start seeing people being further and further out. Now again, we talked about this last night and some of the small things that we can do to make changes. Put that back on. Why do we want people to stack? Because, as you see by these red lines, these ads are going to fixate people, and it changes. Now, let's pause there. No, there. So, this ad has decided that it's going to be all the way out here. Why is it all the way out here? Let's go back. Let's see it playing through. Oh, okay. Well, it's decided that it wants to come and focus, I believe, on Jaeger, who is here. So by standing all the way out here, Jaeger's pulling the ad away from the group. If he was standing here, by Ryan, or by Tam, or by Alan, that ad's going to be in the group. That means that cleave is going to be much higher, AoE is going to be much higher. That means that ad is going to die super quick. This ad here is focusing on Jack. Jack's just outside that kind of main clump. So we want people to be clumped up, kind of within a healing range sort of distance. So that's kind of 12 yards from the centre, so 8 yards from any other player. In this kind of little area, because that brings all of the ads together, means that they're going to die in the same place. That means we're dropping that pool that's left when the ads die in the same places. They're all clumped up together. It's easier to avoid them. Okay, so that makes positioning as tanks easier. It makes our move around the room easier. It also means that for Echoing Void, let's go back to Analyze. Damage taken. Taken from ability. Echoing Void, when we have to spread out. Okay, here it is. when we have to spread out during this period here, we're going to have more of the room safe to spread to. Okay, that's the really big part here to take away in terms of how our stacking can actually help. So we're going to be taking less damage from acid pools because we've got people stacking at the right time, which means we then also have more room for echoing void. So it's a knock-on effect. Okay, so everybody has to be kind of loosely stacked behind the bosses. That's literally everybody. I know Lil Baguette is going to be out for the first 15 seconds while he's using his Rune of Power, but then he's coming in. Okay, but everybody needs to be in there, up close, personal, nice and tight, so that we can just absolutely annihilate those ads, get all the pulls in the same place, not have people then have to stand on pools or run through pools when they're spreading for the echoing void and then for the subsequent spread afterwards. So just through those three things, so Devouring Frenzy we know we can't do anything about, but through Psionic Resonance, using lots of stuns, having a stun order, which I'll look at who's kind of the best way of doing that today, and probably post that later. We can reduce a massive amount of damage from Psionic Resonance. Then for our positioning, we can look at how we can reduce Echoing Void and Acid Pool damage. Okay, so that between them is, I would say we could easily halve that damage from nearly 20 million to 10 million. That's a huge difference straight off the bat. Okay, so this damage here shouldn't be happening. This damage here shouldn't be this high. This damage here, I think, it's difficult to get rid of it completely because of how it works, but we can reduce it. Okay, let's take a look at some of the other things quickly as well. So corrosion. What's corrosion? Let's go and have a click. Let's go and have a look. Okay, corrosion. Kazir, it's a cast. Corrosion, doesn't say there. So, it seems to be some kind of debuff. Let's see when that happens. Corrosion, let's have a little bit of a look. So it's starting at 54 seconds. Okay. It's coming from Kazir. Okay, so does he do a cast? Let's have a look. Okay, let's hit enemies. Let's find Kazir. Let's go through all of the things that he does. So you've got Hivemind Control. Well, it's not that. Mind Numbing Nova. No, it's not that. Spawn Acidic Akir. Maybe it's spawning Acidic Akir. Is it something to do with that? Well, let's look it up. Let's look it up. Okay, so corrosion. Okay, used by a particular NPC. It's on Mythic difficulty. Oh, whoopsie. Didn't want to do that. So corrosion. Let's copy it so we can save it. Let's go to the raids. Let's find out. Okay, this is part of the process of figuring out what's happening. So let's go and have a look. Okay. Let's hunt. Control F, Control V, corrosion. Okay, spawn Acidic Akir. Yes, we were right. So throughout the fight, Kazir spawns Acidic Akir, summoning eggs around the edge of the encounter space. After a few moments, the Akir will burst from the egg and roll in the encounter space in a straight line. Any player who is touched by these rolling adds takes a burst of nature damage and is afflicted with corrosion, an 8-second dot which increases all damage taken by 25%. Where's it gone? There it is. Okay, so corrosion. There it is. So you've got a damage kind of pulse that's happening, I suppose. So nearly 50,000 H damage on Mythic every 2 seconds, and it increases all damage taken by 50% for 16 seconds on Mythic. That's a lot of damage, and that all comes here. Okay, all comes here. Let's double check the amount. Taken by from ability. It's thinking about it. There we are. Oh, for God's sake. Well, that's decided it's not going to stop working, so never mind. But it's these. It's the roly-polies. Okay, any player who touched the rolling adze takes a burst of nature damage and is afflicted with corrosion. Okay, which this is the normal and heroic version. On Mythic, it's doubled. Okay, so it's the roly-polies. That's what's doing that damage. That's what's doing the corrosion damage. That's why friendly is taken from ability. There we go. Once that eventually has decided what it's going to do. There we are. Okay, corrosion. 1.31 million. Okay, so as an example of avoidable damage, this shouldn't appear at all. No one should be taking corrosion damage. At all. That's it. Done. Dusted. No one should be taking it. So I took some. Right? I cocked up. I took some damage from it. Vart cocked up. He took some damage. Mooney, Sephi, Star. We cocked up. We took damage from it. No one should be taking damage from it. Okay? So it's another place where we can start removing damage. Okay? Removing pressure ultimately on the healers. Entropic Echo. That's all to do with Echoing Void, which we've already talked about. Mind Numbing Toxin. What's that? Inflicts... oh, well, there we go. The same thing as corrosion. Nullification. Not a great deal that we can do about that. It's fairly low in damage. Void Echo, again, we know what's happening there. That's pretty good. Only 268k, so that's standing too close to people. Cauterized. Oh, little baguette. Oh, fatal damage. Why did you get to the point where you had to cauterize? That's a very good question that you might want to ask yourself. Okay, was it something that you could do to make a change? Okay, but you can see out of this 62.5 million damage that happened, actually, if we play smart, we can take out the better part of 11 million here, but better part of 12 million here. We can reduce Echoing Void damage a little bit. We can get rid of Acid Pool damage. That's 5 million we can lose. Acid Spray, Corrosion even, we can lose that entirely. Okay, so we can probably start looking at reducing this 62.5 million damage that was taken over the course of 1 minute and 35 seconds and drop that down to sub 50. And we need to if we're going to get through the fight. That's the ultimate takeaway. We need to if we're going to get through it. So there's quite a lot to take away for this fight. I think we learned a hell of a lot. I'm pretty happy with our positioning. I'm pretty happy with the damage output. So if we have a quick look at damage done, some pretty good numbers happening. I know I can get a little bit higher, and I know that if we kind of think about how we're building, people can improve. We currently have Just John focusing pure single target. I know obviously he's going to kind of hit other things, but he's really going for a single target build. I think what we might do is look at having somebody else go for a pure single target build as well, although I'm not entirely sure who just yet. But I think that's worth looking at, having two people on pure single target just so they're constantly chipping away at the boss, because we can absolutely melt those adds if we get our positioning right and we get people standing in the right places. Okay, so lots to take away. Really happy with what we learned. I think this boss is going to come down relatively quickly. We've learned most of what we need to. It's just very much, again, a case of practicing, getting through that first stacked phase with nobody dead, no combat res used, and getting through the first split phase in the same regard. And then it's just repeat the fight. Move around the room, repeat the fight. Okay, so we've still got some stuff to learn on the split phase, particularly on how we're going to deal with the big ad there. But I think we'll cover that in raid, talk about that separately, because right now what I want to do is make sure we can get through that first stacked phase and understand how the stacked phase needs to be done. Then we'll look separately, like I say, at the split phase. Okay, thanks very much for your time, guys. I hope this was really useful. And I guess I will see you all on Wednesday. Bye.